I've been digging into the Kenya Police Service's story, and it's like unraveling a tapestry woven with control and oppression since colonial days. Back in 1906, the British set up the Kenya Police not to protect us but to crush resistance and safeguard settlers. European officers loaded over African and Indian recruits armed with the 1906 police ordinance and let them arrest without warrants and use force without question. It was all about keeping the quote unquote natives in line, not serving them. When independence hit in 1963, Kenyans hoped for change, but under Kenyatta, the police just swapped one master for another. They became a tool to protect the new elite, silencing dissent. The structure stayed rigid. The police commissioner was picked by the president, and the General Service Unit, a paramilitary outfit formed in 1948 for colonial emergencies, was now used for crowd control and political muscle. The administration police, born in 1958 for local governance, kept clashing with the main force, creating chaos. By 2010, the constitution tried to shake things up, renaming it a service under Article 243, with an independent inspector general and a leaner structure. But the president still picks the IG, and the 2014 amendments keep the executive's grip tight, leaving doubts about the National Police Service Commission's independence. The legal side of this story is a frustrating mix of hope and betrayal. Post-independence, the 1960 Police Act carried over colonial powers, letting officers arrest on flimsy grounds like quote-unquote imminent crimes. It was a green light for shakedowns and bribes to avoid jail time. Fast forward to the 2010 Constitution and things looked promising. Article 244 pushed for a professional, human rights respecting force. Article 29 banned torture and arbitrary detention. Article 27 guaranteed equality. The 2011 National Police Service Act brought in the NPSC for oversight and IPOA to probe misconduct, while the 2017 Prevention of Torture Act criminalized brutality. It sounds solid, but here's the rub. IPOA can't prosecute, so officers are rarely held accountable. The Public Order Act still lets police crush protests, like in the 2025 Finance Bill anniversary marches. A 2023 bill to repeal the vague quote-unquote idle and disorderly penal code sections was introduced, but they are still used to harass, despite courts calling them unconstitutional. The 2014 amendments handed the president more control over the NPSC, gutting its independence. Transparency International's 2024 ethics survey pegs the police as Kenya's most corrupt institutions. 1 in 5 of us faces arrests every 2 years, often just to line a police officer's pocket. Extortion's been around since 1907 settler accounts, and it is still thriving. Yeah, so guys, if you've made it this far into the video, you can like, share, and subscribe to this channel. You can also support us on the M-Pesa till below. Your donations will enable us to continue bringing this kind of content to your screen. Thank you. The headlines about the Kenya Police Service read like a crime novel, but it's our reality. Under Moi's regime from 1978 to 2002, the police were his enforcers, rigging elections and silencing critics. The 2007 to 2008 post-election violence was particularly a low point, with the Waki Commission counting 405 police killings, kids included, with no one held accountable. In 2017, Human Rights Watch pinned 67 to 100 deaths on police and allied gangs during elections. Impunity is the name of the game. Then there's 2024, when the anti-finance bill protests erupted. There are countless reports on unlawful arrests, journalist assaults, and hundreds killed. Ruto sent in the military without full parliamentary approval, only for courts to slap it down. Now in 2025, we are seeing remembrance marches for those victims, and the KHRC calls it a slide into repression. April's anti-femicide protests saw more arrests, and by June, police were standing by as goons hit supermarkets and businesses. Corruption is just as bad. In 2018, EACC probes into embezzlement fizzled out due to interference. In fact, roadblocks are viewed by many as toll booths where Kenyans and the police often engage in petty corruption, sparking the popular phrase kitu kidogo. Two names stand out in the Kenya Police's long history: Patrick Shaw and Ben Gedhi. Shaw, a colonial era CID reservist in the 70s and 80s, was a vigilante cop, allegedly running death squads on Nairobi's criminals with government nods. His 1988 death was officially reported as a heart attack, but some insist that it was an assassination, sparking whispers of elite ties. Gedhi, commissioner from 1978 to 82, led the force through Moi's crackdowns, like the 1982 coup attempt. Implicated in land grabs, he faced detention but no real justice, cementing the blue code of silence that still shields officers. The real power structure is a corrupt pyramid. The IG, handpicked by the president, sidelines the NPSC. Low pay and brutal conditions push officers to extort, while seniors demand quote-unquote returns. The GSU is practically untouchable, crushing protests and guarding elites. Politically, it's the executive's weapon, same as the Moi days. On August 26, 2025, Ruto's compensation panel for protest victims is getting flack on social media, with people wanting the DIG and IG fired, not payouts. New online recruitment for 10,000 officers this month aims to curb graft, but without tearing down this executive-controlled, self-protecting machine, it's just noise. From colonial tool to modern oppressor, the police serves power, not us. Laws like the Torture Act gather dust, and abuses, killings, abductions, bribes, they keep piling up. On our side, it's too early to give up. We must demand for change.